Good evening, Demon Phil, Comics and More New Jersey here with yet another interview. And tonight's going to be a pretty good one. I am well, I'm going to save a little bit of my excitement for the actual interview process. I'll put it that way. He has got a project that has been going on. We have less than a day to go ahead and back this. So I'm going to go ahead and say right now that whenever we have this interview and we go through this all, definitely go check out this Kickstarter, give it a look, give it a share, give it a like, give it some support, give it some love, show them that indies can definitely take care of everybody on this and take care of their own. So without further ado, I have Kevin Laporte here, and we're going to be talking about some cowboys and some plagues. It's some fun stuff. Good evening.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining us. Definitely, I've been looking forward to this one. In case you can't tell, I have kind of a little bit of a drawl because I come from Texas. So talking about cowboys, I'm going to have some fun with this one.
Terrific.
So we're talking about your Kickstarter that you've got going right now. Do you want to give us the full name of that? Because I love the name.
Last Ride of the Four Horsemen. Yeah, it's a four
It's
issue
got
series.
Yeah, it's got an amazing ring to it, just the name alone. And of course, just like most everyone else, whenever I looked at this the first time and I saw Last Ride of the Four Horsemen, you think, you know what? I've read the stories. I know what this is. I've already seen how this turns out. No, you have not. There is a bit of a twist in here. And I will say this, Kevin was gracious enough to go ahead and send me the PDF files so I can go ahead and do a review on this as well. So I have a personal review to go ahead and give you that extra push to go ahead and look at this. We have four books based on the Four Horsemen. And Kevin, if you'll name those off for us real quick.
We have in order famine, pestilence, war, and death.
Absolutely. And actually, let me get over to my screen and I will show you the pictures on here. Hang on. The technology is fun sometimes. Give me just a moment. All right. So here we have that. I believe that was pestilence, correct?
That's famine.
No, that's famine. I'm sorry. That's famine. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first one in the series is famine. I will go ahead and say up front, these are 14 plus is the rating on these as far as who needs to be reading these. Just for the violence section in there is pretty much what I'm basing that off of. And whenever Kevin and I had talked about that, whenever you're going through these books, let me show you the covers real quick because I'm going to get ahead of myself because I'm getting a little excited. We have got pestilence. And we have got war. War is right here. There we go. They were a little bit out of order. There's war. And there is death.
Yep.
Now, as you're seeing this, you'll notice that there's definitely a steampunk aspect that's on here. And I will be very quick to go ahead and let you know that I'm not a huge fan of steampunk, and that's why I kind of chose this to get out of my wheelhouse. And I'm more than happy that I did because there are a lot of things that really caught my eye. I wrote down some notes. Let me kind of go over this real quick to let you know what's going on with this as far as the review. Number one, there's 4 books in there that are beautifully illustrated on the front. So the covers alone get your attention. And there are 2 sets of covers, correct?
Right. The new set of covers we created just because we're finally releasing the entire series together. So I wanted a new set of covers. So heavy metal artist Oscar Pinto made those covers for us, and he did just a devastating job. They're so gorgeous, so proud.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that gets your eye right there. I mean, it's all about what catches your eye to get your attention to go ahead and get into it. I mean, it's human nature. It's whatever whatever fancies your eye. So going with that, it's beautifully illustrated. I cannot stress enough that whenever I was looking through here, and there are no spoilers on any of my interviews, everybody knows that's been watching this, but the illustration is so beautiful in there, and it is very, very fluid. The panels are not squared off and just blocky. There's a lot of there's a lot of information, even on the ones that don't have text. We'll put it that way, if that makes any sense. And then moving on from there, the gripping storyline. I can't say a lot about it, not to give away spoilers, but the way that it's done and the way that the storyline is set up and all really, really got me to where I wanted to turn those pages a little bit faster. I mean, it was a PDF and I was flipping through them, trying to find out what was going to happen. And then you go back and you try to figure out, okay, I know this happened, but how did it happen? So it really gets you involved in it. But the thing that got me the most, and maybe this is because of my Texas roots, the dialect. Whenever you're reading a true cowboy comic, too many times it's done in regular English. I mean, like normal, type it out, and there it is, English. I found myself looking at it, and you'll hear right now my drawl is coming out more and more just from talking about it. But they went straight up cowboy on this. And I really appreciate you doing that because it draws the fan in, and it actually, I'm no longer sitting in my office reading this. I'm sitting on the back of a horse, and I'm right there ducking bullets with the rest of them. So that is something I definitely enjoyed. So that being said, let me ask you something. How did you get your start into comics?
Well, I started about 10 years ago. I've always wanted to do comics since I was a kid, but I waited until I was in my late 30s actually to get started. And my partner Amanda and I, she's an artist. She draws our book called Vicious Circus, and she's drawn other comics over the years. But she wanted to do a sample page for submission to a company. And so she talked to me about just writing up a sample script. So we did just a little Doom Patrol short, like 4 pages. We're Doom Patrol fans. So she drew that up, and we enjoyed the process so much we started collaborating more. We did a very primitive little web comic called The Blind Eye back in 2009 to 10. And then we joined a contest called Small Press Idol out of Ohio back in 2010. And that's where we came up with Killer Clowns That Kill Child Abusers concept that then we called Clown Town, that became Vicious Circus a couple of years ago. We remastered that. And that's probably the story, the book that we've put out there the most to date. So that's how we got started. We got addicted to it. We can't stop. We've been doing indie comics for a decade, the convention circuit. We do digital comics, we do print comics. We've had a lot of success, on Kickstarter. Very grateful for Kickstarter as a forum for indie comics. And so, yeah, we love
it. And it really shows in your work. That's one great thing about that you really see in the indies is how much passion is put into the work whenever you're doing things. And that kind of brings up my next question on here is a steampunk aspect that's in there. How did you come up with that idea?
It was not my idea. I can't claim that one. When I came up with the idea for the 4 Horsemen concept, I wanted a very short series. I wanted 1 issue per horseman. I wanted a progression of the horsemen coming through one at a time through a single town. And that's the concept of the story. So I pitched it to a buddy of mine who was an amazing artist, Nathan Smith. We unfortunately lost Nathan to epilepsy a year and a half ago. That's why we had to change artists, and that's why we had to come up with new covers. The original covers, all of the designs of the characters are by Nathan. And it was his idea to do the steampunk, and it was masterful, if for no other reason than the designs he was able to put on the horsemen individually. I think they're gorgeous. They're creepy. The steampunk aspects really make them pop. It brings out the thematic aspects of famine, pestilence, war, and death in ways that would have been tough without having the accoutrement that come with steampunk.
Exactly. And that is one thing that I hadn't brought up about my review, and you're bringing that up now, which is great because you think about the 4 Horsemen and you automatically equate them to the riders. But you went a step further and actually y'all, here we go. Here's the Texas drawl coming out. Y'all actually did it where you took the horses and actually made them to where they're part of the story, actually as much as the writers, and so a lot of aspects in there.
Yeah, that was really important, not to just have them aesthetically match the rider or enhance the rider. Our war, for example, is a very petite woman, but her horse is the most massive of the 4 horses, the most destructive, the most violent. And these horses are pretty violent. We got them involved in the action from the get-go. And they're pretty scary in their own right. They each have their own abilities, their own propensities for aggression, for attacking. And yeah, they definitely have a big role in it. And that's something we went for from the beginning.
Yeah, it definitely, it was a great idea putting the horses in there as much because, like you said, the storyline, whenever you think you got somebody down and then their horse is not involved at the time and then the horse comes into it, it changes the way that you're seeing the storyline going. So there is no, I know what's going to happen. So I'm going to figure out how this book's going to end. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, it's one of those, it's a page turner. I mean, it definitely is. And there's 4 of them. So with the Kickstarter going on, I'm going to say it again right now. You've got less than a day to go ahead and back this thing up. You've got some amazing tiers on there. If I'm not mistaken, you have 13 tiers that are available right now because there were some that were already sold out or finished.
Right.
And the tier levels are, yeah, they're great. I'm just going to tell you right now, they have some amazing things on there.
Starting at $3 up to $75+ dollars.
Exactly. And $75 for a tier is not bad at all. Yeah, $75 for a tier is not bad at all. Now, here's something else. You want to go ahead and tell them about the sketches that are available on there that are kind of being lotteried off. Those that to me is amazing.
Yeah, every single day of this campaign from day one, my partner and artist Amanda Rachels has done a sketch card of one of the characters from the book. It could be one of the horsemen, one of the townspeople that are fighting against the horsemen, one of the horses. She's done 3 or 4 that were My Little Pony versions of the horsemen's horses, things like that. So she's been very creative with it, and she's going to be doing one as we record this. But there will be one that people who watch this stream will be able to get in on tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time.
Hey, there you go. See, if you watch a stream, you'll be able to get on there, watch, and see what comes up, what she's going to come up with on there, and see who's going to get it. I mean, these are not low grade sketches. From what I'm seeing alone, these are really great looking sketches that she's coming up with, and they're giveaways.
Yes, she's been drawing comics for nearly 20 years, and as a full-time artist for the past 6 years. So they're really terrific looking. I know a lot of the backers that have gotten them have been extremely happy that they were the winners because they look so nice.
Oh, they look great. Now, with the Kickstarter going on, with the amazing horsemen that you got and everything on there, and I've asked you a little bit about your background on there, I'm going to go further back in your lifetime. What were some of your favorite comics growing up?
I was definitely a Marvel zombie. As a kid in the 70s, found most of my comics on spinner racks. So the Hulk, Incredible Hulk comics, way back in the day, I specifically remember the first appearance of Moonstone being a favorite. Love the Hulk. Iron Man 170 is the really cornerstone of my comic fandom, the one where Rhodey takes over the armor. I discovered that when I was 11 years old, bought it off a spinner rack, and I've been a comic obsessive ever since. It's easily my favorite comic of all time. And then I discovered the Claremont X-Men, and the rest is history. To me, that's the Bible of comics, the Claremont X-Men, Watchmen, of course. So right. I've been a reader for a long, long time. And with only a few periods of waning there during the 90s, I think we all probably went through in the late 90s.
I can neither confirm nor deny said statement.
Definitely wide range.
Well, it definitely shows.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it definitely shows in your style of how you're getting things out there in your books. And these are just the only. I personally have only seen these 4 books so far in the PDFs, and you can see where the foundation of you reading comics for quite some time and everything is played into this, because you see how to throw that next level into there. It's not a mere just we're going to write this script, you're going to read it, and you're going to be done with it. No, you're going to want to go back and reread again, and then you want to tell your friends, hey, you got to go over and reread again on this too.
Yeah, I was fortunate to work with Nathan for one. He was really invested in this. And like you said, his art style is very layered, very deep. He puts a lot into the layouts, into the composition. And then when we lost Nathan, Ari Arnoldson, a native of Iceland, came in on the project, and he just took it right from there, did a lot of the same types of work that Nathan did, put so much action, so much dynamism into the art. I was just really pleased with how it turned out. And it does. I think there's so much story in the visuals beyond just the scripting. And so I love that. One of the stretch goals that we just hit was a script book where we're going to take the unlettered art and put it on a page opposite of the script that goes with it. So you can actually see the naked art with colors, all 80 pages of it opposite the page of script that defined it to begin with. And I'm really excited to see that myself. It's been a while since I've seen some of these pages without the lettering, and they're just gorgeous.
Oh, exactly. I feel the exact same way. I mean, it's gorgeous the way that it is, but I'm finding out more and more that I enjoy the making of process to get into there. And this gives us a chance to go ahead, whoever backs this up, less than a day, get on it. Whoever backs this up, you get in there and you get that. That's part of the stretch goals that's been unlocked right now.
Absolutely free, automatically. Yeah.
And what would be the next stretch goal that we'd be seeing that we'd be trying to hit within this next day?
Well, if we get to 200 backers, we're around 170 tonight, or if we get to $6,000, and we're 5250-ish tonight. I'm gonna, at each one of those goals, add an 8-page origin story for one of the horsemen. We've already hit one for the famine horseman, and so I'll be creating a story for that. It's actually already ready. But if we hit 200 backers and our $6,000, we'll get one or two more 8-page origin stories. So let extra content.
So you're saying that this is more content than what I've even read so far on the PDFs?
Yeah, brand new stories. Right. There'll be 24 more pages total if we hit both of those goals.
All right. All right. We will throw that challenge out there. We have got a day to do this. I'm going to tell y'all right now, because I'm going to go into Texas routes on this one here. Yes, I live in Jersey. I am from Texas. This draw is coming out tonight. Y'all need to get on to this one here. 200 backers, and you've got 170 right now, so 30 more backers. That's an easy thing right there. Doing an extra about what, $800 to go ahead and hit the.
So yeah.
About $800 to go ahead and hit the next part of that stretch goal as well. So $800, 30 people.
Yep.
A day. That's all we got. We got this. I'm gonna put that challenge out there. I'm gonna put that challenge out there. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and say right now that Kevin and I have talked about a little something on the side. He's gonna be sending me a couple of books, but they're going to be very special books. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. I will give more details as that comes up. But here's the thing: if y'all will go ahead and make this happen, 200 backers, $6,000. I need both of those hit on this. And you come back and you let me know or let Kevin know that you did this, that you saw this and you're up on there and all, then everyone is going to be going into a drawing who goes ahead and comments on this video, and we will give away one of those books.
Awesome.
How's that sound, Kevin? Does that sound pretty good to you?
Sounds terrific. I can send you a few extra books too. Let's make sure and spread the love around. We'll get some extra stuff up there.
You heard it there. I can give away some books. So we will take care of this. So 200 backers, $6,000. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to see $6,000 come up on there and everybody just stops. If we got more time on that, let's keep pushing. Let's move this thing on. Let's see what we can do. Because the more that goes into this is indies taking care of indies. So this gentleman right here can go ahead and make more of these great stories and keep pushing these and presenting these out to us so we can get more of this. So I think we can do this. So if you're going to send me the books, I can definitely give those away on the challenge on there. I see no problem with that. So I think we can do this.
Sounds great.
Now, that brings up another question leading into, it's a great segue for it. Is this going to be an ongoing series? Are you going to continue on with this?
That is not the plan. It's pretty much a closed out story at the end. One of our goals as an independent publisher is to have complete stories, particularly because the bulk of our audiences on Kickstarter are conventions, and people at conventions want complete stories. That's not to say we couldn't come back and revisit the characters in another story at some point, but this one will be evergreen. It'll always be a complete story you can read by itself. I would love to come back to these characters at some point. Well, I'm not sure yet. I would have to be inspired to continue the story on. And I think once the readers get their hands on the story, they'll kind of see where I'm coming from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your company is Inverse Press, correct?
Inverse Press.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have the links down below and everything as well. But Inverse Press, you want to go there and you want to let him know if you're going to go back this, look into it, and you're definitely going to. If you look into it, you're going to back it. I'm just going to say that right now. But you're going to get on there, then let him know and get on Inverse Press or his page and let him know I'd like to see these characters again. I'd like to see a little bit more into the story. I have a feeling that if he gets enough people kind of tugging at him a little bit, saying, "Can we do more on this?" Something will be figured out that we can figure out something on it.
Oh, absolutely. If there's enough demand, if there's enough interest, I could easily come back to it. Like I said, I'm going to create those 8 pages one way or the other somewhere down the line, those origin stories. But there's more that can be done.
Absolutely, it is. I cannot go over enough on how amazing this series is. I mean, it's 4 books, and the 4 books are. I'm trying not to give. I'm not going to give spoilers, but from beginning to end, it draws you in. There was not one of them that I opened up, on the PDF that I was like, I got to read another one. I got to go through this. This is my review. I got to do this. It was more or less, I want to go through this now for the review, but I'm going to go back and reread as well because there's a lot of information that's in there. It's not too much. It's not overbearing, but the artwork alone, like we've touched on here, it speaks so much on itself without text on there, which is beautiful. And it's great to see a story come together that's like that. So you definitely need to back this one.
Yeah, I still find myself going through and looking at the artwork, to be honest with you. And I've had it, I also do the lettering, so I've looked at it ad nauseum for years. But every time I go back, I see new things that Nathan and Ari have built into the art and the colors as well. Gavin Michelli colored the first 2 issues, and Andrew Pate colored issues 3 and 4, and they both just knocked it out of the park. There's a lot of depth, a lot of effects that work to bring those images right off the page, and there's just a lot to look at. It's a gorgeous story.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you've mentioned about some of the other projects that you've had in the past and all. And again, we'll have the links down below so that they can get in touch with you to find out about those and how to get a hold of those. But what's in the future for Inverse and yourself?
Well, the very next thing we're going to do, we actually publish a line of pro wrestling biography comics as well, called Squared Circle Comics. And our next project is the Comic Book Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling. So it's a compendium of stories about pro wrestlers that we've done: Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Bruno Sammartino, Lanny Poffo, the brother of Macho Man Randy Savage, the Killer Bees, and the Rock and Roll Express, and the list goes on, that we'll have in that book. But also there'll be actual encyclopedia entries about each of those people and some of the people they were associated with, like the Macho Man, like Ric Flair. So it's a 280-page book that we're going to be launching on Kickstarter later in May after we get this project fulfilled.
Very nice. That sounds interesting. I mean, for the wrestling fans that are out there, for the comic fans, that way it kind of goes all genres all the way around.
Yeah, it's a great looking book. I've got it almost ready to go. Honestly, I'm excited to get it out there.
Oh, absolutely. It does. It sounds like a really good project on that way. Now, is it going to be just a series of stories in there, or is it going to be actual comics that are built together around it, or how are you doing that?
It's a series of biographical comics, so 20 to 30 pages per wrestler, but there'll also be actual encyclopedia entries on each wrestler with data, with background, with historical information that goes along with it. So it's a little bit of a hybrid type of book between an encyclopedia and a wrestling comic. But these are all biographical. Every one is based on actual interviews with the wrestler and sanctioned by the wrestlers themselves.
Very nice indeed. Now, as far as the Kickstarter that we got here with the books and everything, I know we've got 2 different versions. We've talked about that as far as the covers. Are you planning on revisiting doing other covers later on? Have you thought about that, or is that something maybe that would come up later on?
I'm actually going to collect it in a trade paperback format sometime in early 21. And so I've already got Gavin Michele, who did the alternate cover for issue 4 as part of this, and Oscar Pinto working on 2 separate covers for that trade. So we'll see how those turn out here in a few months, but we're getting started early, just so we have them on hand and I can show them off as soon as possible.
Absolutely. So that's another really great reason to get on this project and back this, is because you're getting on the ground floor of something that definitely has a footing that's moving, because we're still moving with the story, not the story, but the actual books itself, because we're going to make trades that are going to come out. And yeah, that's going to look pretty nice too.
I'm excited to have it in one volume, but it's, I'm an old school comics fan. I love floppies, and it just feels good to me to have our work in floppy format and those single issue gorgeous covers I can lay out on my kitchen table and take in what the whole series looks like together. So it's a great feeling.
I definitely agree. I like the floppies. Trades are nice. If you're trying to catch up on something, is really nice. So that's why it's good to always release that after the fact that you've done the floppies. But having the floppies in your hand and having just, it's the smell of the paper, it's the weight of the paper, it just makes such a difference on there. I cannot wait to get mine in from this project. Now, do you do signings by chance, or?
Yeah, when there's opportunity to do it, we do some at our local shops. We're down in Fairhope, Alabama, near the Gulf of Mexico, so we do have a number of shops between from Florida to Mississippi and north of us that we're able to get to do signings. But we have done signings around conventions when we're out of state doing convention runs and things like that. So as often as possible.
Okay. So that's another thing. Whenever you get on this project, you back this, you get your books, we're going to find out where he's going to be whenever we start traveling around again. And then you can go up to him, give him the book, tell him, thank you very much. He will tell you, thank you very much. You will get a signature on there, and then all life will be even better around you at that point.
Yeah, and we love meeting people that have read the books. It's part of the gratification of making comics is meeting people who love comics and knowing that they love our comic. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And just for everyone else who is a collector out there who collects purely on covers, I'm just going to let you know a little secret here. There are pages inside that have a storyline and these words and everything. So you don't have to go specifically on the outside. And this is one of those that you definitely want to open up and figure out, whoa, this has got some pages in there. So just so you know, back this series. I know I made you giggle a little bit. I'm sorry. I get a little goofy sometimes. It's fun though.
Yeah, there's a lot of good story in there, but we are proud of those covers, both sets of covers. Very proud.
Oh, definitely. You should be proud of the entire works on this. Is just, it's dead on point. I cannot wait to have these things in my hands. Whenever I do, we may have to revisit on another video whenever I get those, and actually either do a box unboxing whenever I have you on here or something, and we can kind of show them off that way. We can figure something out on that one.
You let me know. I'll be here.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we're going to go ahead. If you've got any links that you want to go ahead and audibly let us know right now, we can go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to have those down below with the video so that you can easily click on that to go ahead and get into there. But if you want to let us know where we can reach you, find out things.
Yeah, our website where you can get most of our books that are in print is inversepress.com. You can find us on Facebook under Inverse Press, Twitter, Inverse Press, Instagram, Inverse_press.
Absolutely. And that live stream tomorrow will also be listed on here so that way you can get on that. That's correct.
Right. It's the search on Facebook for Amanda Rachels, Rachels. It'll be on her personal page. She'll be doing a live stream from 6 to 8 tomorrow. She's going to be giving away more than one sketch card as we close this thing out. So if you're on the stream, you have a higher chance because there'll be some sketch cards that are exclusive to people watching the stream who've also backed the Kickstarter.
I will be on there. I expected we should have quite a few other people on there then, because yeah, I'm not missing this one. I would love to have a sketch. But
she makes it a lot of fun. So it's a good use of your 2 hours, and we'll be updating on the campaign as we go through that last couple of hours live.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds great. I'll be over there just pushing away on the side as well. So yeah, here we go. 200 backers, $6,000. We can do this, correct?
We can do it. and
All
we'll
right.
have extra comic, basically 24 more pages of material.
Absolutely. That sounds perfect to me. Kevin, I appreciate you being on here this evening. I definitely look forward to getting you back on here. We're going to talk about some other things that are coming up in the future, I am sure. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to say goodbye for now because I know you've got some work to go ahead and do some more promoting on this because as soon as I am done on here, I'm doing the same thing.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Phil. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. You have a great evening. And hey, guys, this is where you need to go.
Thanks so much.
All right. Hey, Kevin was here. We were talking about some cowboys. We were talking about some plagues. We were talking about some horsemen. We were talking about some great times there. Now, we're pushing on this because they have 24 hours left basically on this deal. Does that mean that I'm getting any kind of kickback or anything by pushing this? Absolutely not. In fact, whenever he said that he was going to be giving the books to go ahead and have his giveaways, we had discussed that beforehand, and I am definitely planning on doing some giveaways. Now, that being said, whenever you're working out on, trying to help someone out or get something promoted, pushed, do some good in the world, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure you're always doing it because you're trying to help the other person. Yeah, this is my channel. Yes, I have some fun with this. You know what? I get to meet some of the best people in the world. I get to talk to some of the best people. I have different people that'll actually even text me at certain times and everything. And I'm amazed and I'm humbled by it. But this is not about me. This is about the people that you help. So let me ask you, current situations and everything that's going on right now, and you got a lot of time on your hands, who have you helped? Who who on your list have you helped? Let me go ahead and make it a little bit quicker on that. Who have you helped today? Well, you now have an opportunity. You have 30 backers that we need to get and $800 on this particular project. I believe in it. I know a lot of other people believe in it. He's been doing really well at this. He knows his stuff. He's got a great story. I say we help somebody today. Demon Phil, Comics and More, New Jersey. Y'all keep it indie.